And we're live. Perfect. That's done. All right. Whoa, okay. Justin, how's it going, man? How you doing? Tinab, how's it going, man? How you doing? Okay, this is good. So R-E-F-I... F... Nagato Sound, how's it going, guys? So... X-E-R-I... This seems much more likely. But what would this word be? Garif, Larif, Barif, Carif, Harif, Tarif. Ramiro, how's it going, man? How you doing? Wrongs, how's it going, man? How you doing? Okay, so let's assume this is right. Refit. Okay, so X, EF, EFIR. This is it. So, okay. Luvion, how's it going, man? How you doing? Yeffer? Heffer? Heffer? Nice. I don't even know what this word is. Kefir. What is this word? Kefir. A fermented milk with a sour taste made using a culture of yeast and bacteria. I did not even know this was a thing. Cool. 8 chapters today. Going to be a banger. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, we're going to do 8 chapters. We're going to go to 119. Put on low latency. Oh shit, is it on low latency? Let me see. Okay, I am on low latency today, so we should be fine. It's not on ultra low because I forgot to do that, but it is on low, so it's how it normally should be. Okay. Fish chick clip entrance. Besides, for spoilers, isn't high latency better? Because the higher the latency, the longer the time between when I'm seeing a chat after it's put out, no? Till 11:19, exactly. Yeah, Eric, yep. Sounds good, sound. Okay. Fish, chick, clip, entrance, gate, entrance, passage, board. Shit. No? Interesting. Okay. Struck, thrill. After I delete them, it takes long. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, that's a fair point. Fish chick clip entrance. How's everyone doing this fine Wednesday night? Oh, by the way, I realized the end of volume stream is not going to be on Saturday. It's going to be on Sunday. I hope that's okay with you guys. It's going to be Sunday morning for me, Sunday night for most of you guys. How was your discussion with DC? It was pretty good. It was great sound. It was great. It was great. We had a good time. We talked for like probably 2.5 hours or so. And then we stuck around for like another hour after that was done to talk about F1. It was a good time. The Volume 5 end stream is going to be on Sunday, not Saturday. Sorry, I thought I had a thing on Sunday, so I thought I could finish it on Saturday and take the Sunday off. But it turns out the thing is on Saturday, so I will work, or sorry, I will skip Saturday and then I'll do it Sunday morning. Rip, I work Sunday morning. Ah, shit. Sorry, sound. Gate, passage, entrance. I already tried that, Ramiro. It didn't work. Gate, passage, board. Yeah, I already tried this. That's not what. Big Sealy, how's it going, man? I wasn't going to be able to make it if it were Saturday? Well, okay. Well, you know. Alright. Sound can't make it and you can, Luvion. Alright. Yeah. This is always how it goes. Bish Bengal extract. So what we'll do is like maybe tomorrow or so I'll schedule the stream for Sunday so that you guys know when it is definitively, and then we can hammer out the ending of Volume 5. Let's go! Lee, how's it going, man? How you doing? I have no fucking idea. Let's go to something else. Lexicon. Tall, big. Big, huge project. No. Precisely. Machine. Please don't read ahead today. At least try not to. What do you mean, Ramiro? As in, don't try to skim. Okay, I'll try to keep that in mind. Also, if you would have taken a break Sunday instead of on 6 Monday, I would have mixed. Big, huge. Big, massive. Group. Several. Many. It's massive. Scale. When are you starting Volume 6, by the way? Can't miss that shit. I'll probably start at Monday night, sound. Maybe size small. I'll probably start at Sunday night. Small, precise, accurate, small, target, goal, accurate, marksman. Right into it, sound. Right into it. We're in such a cool place now. And plus, the truth of the matter is, I want to really see, like, with how much everyone glazes Volume 6, I want to fucking get into it already. Because I've just been enjoying the series as a whole so much. I don't want to microscopic accurate. Machining? Because I'm thinking like machines are able to do things like really precisely. Artificial? Just binge volume 6 and 1. Yeah, I wish. Artificial. Volume 6 is over. Nobody cannot like it. It doesn't take long to figure out why Volume 6 is peak. Fuck yeah. Okay, I don't know. I'm not going to get anything today. Let's just get into it. Atomic then electron. Maybe we'll try that later. Okay. In the magnificent palace above the grey fog, Klein stretched out his right hand and tapped the edge of the table as he muttered. The 5 large family clans of the Tudor dynasty are Ammon, Abraham, Antigonus, Jacob, and Tamara. The ones who helped Alista become Blood Emperor were kings of angels Adam, Ammon, and Abraham. Could it be inferred that, that during the time of the Tudor Truant's united empire, supporting one of the 2 consuls, Alista, included Ammon and Abraham? Read Invisible Dragon. Okay, currently up after Lord of the Mysteries for like a short web novel. Invisible Dragon, is that a relatively short one? Pit with a gun. Yes, I read 1111 yesterday, McSilly. Invisible Dragon, Mother of Learning. If that's the case, Blood Emperor Tudor didn't have plans of switching pathway in the beginning. When he secretly constructed the mausoleums, he likely would have sought the help of one or more of the pathways, or one or more of the following: Ammon, Abraham, and Antigonus. As for Bethel Abraham, he's Mr. Door, and he grasps the apprentice pathway. When it comes to teleportation, even a true deity might not be as good as him. Brain rot? Oh, okay, never mind. Well, I don't know, guys. Pit with a Gun generally has like, he's generally like a decent chatter, so I didn't know he was fucking with me. My bad. So the teleportation nexus in the Tudor ruins could be set up by Bethel Abraham. There's a high chance of that. Yes, only important figures like Mr. Door can make the entrance and exit of such a secret ruin reach such a level. This causes even my divination above the grey fog to be unable to locate its location. Likewise, it's difficult for an angel who wields concealment to enter it directly. Amidst his thoughts, Klein was leaning more and more towards his own guesses being closer to that of reality. What's a quote that you can never use unless it's very specific for it to make sense? I have like a shit ton of quotes, man, saved. I'll have to get back to you. I have so many quotes in my book, in my notes saved. I'll get back to you on that. Bullseye. I wonder if Mr. Door left behind any relevant information to provide accurate coordinates or a method of entry. This would require Miss Magician to ask her teacher again. Bug, how's it going, man? I really hope that Miss Magician can become a traveler as soon as possible. That way she won't need to rely on writing letters to contact her teacher. She could just teleport over. Did you understand what they just said? About Alista and Door? This is a great question, Romero. Hold on. So wait, is it just saying that Alista Tudor likely knows of the oh, as in if he could reach out to Mr. Door, Bethel Abraham, he might be able to get into one of the mausoleums that he's looking to get into to spoil the plans. Is that it, basically? If there's no records left behind by the Abraham family. So, Godzilla, how's it going? I'm just trying to fumble my way through. If there are no records left behind by the Abraham family, do I have to attempt to converse with Mr. Door? Not only is this troublesome, but it's also dangerous. Most importantly, Miss Magician isn't even a sequence 5 yet. She hasn't been able to clearly hear, much less respond to Mr. Door. It's impossible for me to turn her into a marionette or descend onto her body. Klein seriously considered communicating with Mr. Door earlier, when he first pulled Miss Magician above the Great Fog. Later, after he came to learn more, he became more and more apprehensive. Furthermore, the level he was at now lacked the measures that were sufficiently effective and secure. That and why Alista built the mausoleums? I have no idea why Alista built the mausoleums. Furthermore, the level he was at now lacked the... Yes. As his thoughts churned, he suddenly sighed. Patience. At sea, on an island with a relatively high pirate activity, too much cultivation and chatting. Forrest raised her glass and took a sip. Her face scrunched up as she tasted something hard to swallow. I will defend and glaze and... Alista had Abraham as a subordinate of the Bundesliga. I see. Thank you, Arthur. 3 pirates. Oh, no. Forrest then wrote, the pirates here are only in pursuit of strong liquor while keeping an eye on the price. To them, being more drunk is more important than anything else. Based. 3 pirate friends that I know of have told me that this port city was built by them. At first, they only docked their ships to hide their loot and settle their families. Later on, the bankrupt adventurers and tax fugitives came here and settled. They plowed the lands on the island and built houses. Finally, an entrepot market was formed, and the merchants at sea swarmed over like sharks. At this point, Forrest looked up at the pirates and said, "Do you have anything else to say?" "No, not really. We have nothing else." I have to say, it does feel pretty good to imitate Mr. World's attitude when it comes to dealing with pirates. Forrest shook her head and continued writing. There's a liberal mood here. If women are interested in men, they can, like the men, offer a price. Good for you, I guess. Similarly, it works when a man catches the eye of another man, or when a woman catches the eye of another woman. According to my 3 pirate friends, during the long period of repression and boredom while drifting at sea, it's inevitable for some people to experiment with taboos. In addition, they inform me of things that I never dared believe. Pirates actually advocate for the concept of democracy. This has completely overturned my understanding, but on careful thought, it doesn't seem difficult to understand. At least, they didn't say that they were pursuing justice. Did you at least understand why Alista built the Tudors? Yeah. Because he wanted to be Black Emperor. What? Or Red... Oh, he wanted to be Black Emperor, but he couldn't, so he switched to the Red Priest pathway. Yeah, okay. Hey, did you guys... The explanation from my 3 pirate friends is that when a person with his weapons doesn't have absolute overwhelming strength, it's always the case of there being tyranny when the majority on a pirate ship. Furthermore, a large ship requires a lot of people to run it. When the factors are combined, it makes every pirate crew particular about democracy. There will always be a captain who is voted by the crew. I believe that if a captain possesses absolute strength, the pirate crew will definitely develop another style of governance. Dr. Z, hey, how's it going? By the way, did you guys know this is true? On a pirate ship, the captain is always chosen by democracy, is always chosen by a vote, and at any time, the crew can request for another, can request for a revote because if they want to vote out the captain. The only exception is during battle. During battle is no time for democracy. No, Bullseye, no, stop. But I was right, though. I was right. I'm sorry. At this point, Forrest looked out at the window and saw that under the blue sky and the white clouds, buildings made of wood and rock formed a dense circle around a market. From time to time, she could see a few children in tattered clothes. Boris then wrote again, "There's no urban planning here. Everyone casually builds their houses and expands their borders. As a result, many roads only allow for one person to walk through. My first reaction is that once a fire breaks out, the outcome will be extremely terrifying." Yes, Sound, you are right. Channel members don't get ads. I have experience with the pirate code after watching Pirates of the Caribbean. Neither do premium pairs. This is also true. My first reaction is that once a fire breaks out, the outcome will be terrifying. Backland once had a similar strategy, but my 3 friends told me this isn't worth worrying about. It's humid and often rains here. This place is still under the influence of war. It's chaotic. Also, what they're most afraid of isn't Nast or some horrifying legends, but Gehrman Sparrow. Every pirate is warned by their peers not to drink too late into the night, and they shouldn't walk in the middle of the night or use small alleys, because it might lead them to going missing, and the murderer is rumored to be that gentleman. Quoting CGP Grey, "Guilty as charged." Is this a form of hunting? As she wrote, Force's expression turned solemn. She pulled out another stack of paper and added, "There's a unique coldness that wafts through the hospital at night, and the darkness outside the window is much thicker than other places." Take a wild guess where Romero gets his geographical knowledge. How the fuck would I know? Geography class? No one knows why that young lady who lives in a single ward gets her family members to bring her mushrooms and weeds, and no one knows where these things end up. In short, there's no sign of fires in the ward, and there's no abandoned junk outside. This makes the nurses suspect that the patient is secretly eating the mushrooms and weeds. Klein becomes an herb. Random, but is anyone... no, Godzilla. I had swimming classes when I was a baby. Or, well, a kid, I guess. I'm still not a great swimmer by any stretch of the imagination, but, like, I wouldn't drown. Except if it was really strong waves, of course, then I would most certainly drown. Standing in front of the mountain, Afternoon Town, which was divided into 3 regions, top, middle, and bottom, they had a camp set up by the City of Silver. Oh, shit. Oh, is this the mini-arc? Derek clasped his hands and began chanting, "The fool that doesn't belong to this era." After piously chanting, he stood up and picked up the ancient bronze cross that was covered with sharp spikes, walking towards the bonfire. As the unshadowed crucifix couldn't coexist with the other items, his giant hammer named Thunder God Roar could only be temporarily left to Haim and Joshua to carry. As the City of Silver's expedition team gathered, Klein, who was in Backland, arrived above the grey fog and began viewing the situation. If he didn't use the prayer light and the sea god scepter, Klein was unable to expand his field of view. As his gaze moved, a beautiful but deep dusk gradually appeared. In the area where dusk was frozen, there were countless palaces, countless towers, and majestic walls. They were significant and opulent, resembling a miracle found in legends. The Giant King's Court. Hold on, I gotta turn on my fan, it's hot. Okay. As he tried to zoom in, Klein realized that he was unable to see the situation beneath the dusk. As expected of a divine kingdom of an ancient god, it's not the kind that has been abandoned or hidden. It's no wonder the kings of angels chose this place to gather. I only hope that the little son's prayer after entering the court will help me see it more clearly. After some time, Klein gathered his attention on Shepherd Elder Lovia. Klein discovered this entire lady's body had illusory silver armor covering her. Wiz, you'd seem like you'd be an elf? I don't know what to make of that. This should be the evil spirit she grazed. I haven't found any effects from the true creator yet. After a while, under the lead of Colin, the 9 members of the expedition team, including Derek, left the camp and followed the stairs paved with grey stones to the peak of the mountain. They were at least Sequence 6 Beyonders, and most of them belonged to the Warrior pathway. They moved quickly, clearing a few waves of monsters that were mainly rotten giants. Finally, they arrived at the region shrouded by dusk. They were shocked by the grand and epic building. This was the first time they had encountered a place where there was no flashes of lightning. It was illuminated by natural light. Colin narrowed his eyes and took out a metal bottle and drank it. After the evolution of many generations, they were more accustomed to the dark environment. They were instinctively afraid of such a situation. It was both a point of hope and fear. After drinking the potion, Colin prepared himself. Colin and Lovia led the members of the expedition team as they stepped into the region. Before Derek could sense anything, he saw the unshadowed crucifix in his hand drop, revealing a corporeal form of pure light. But the light emitted by the corporeal body was no longer pure. It was tainted by an orange-red color, unique to dusk. Right on the heels of that, Derek felt his condition plummet, as if he was at the weakest point of the day, ready to welcome the approaching night. That's never happened. Interesting. Derek is starting to sound like Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins. I don't know how many people are going to get the reference, but Giant King's Court is an eternal twilight? Oh, I see. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. I see. Oh, that's still hot as fuck. Never mind. The towering building stood quietly in the frozen dusk. There wasn't any sound in the area. After passing through such an environment, Derek felt even more high-strung than before. After entering a place shrouded in dusk, the entire exploration team, including Colin and Lovia, couldn't help but show signs of exhaustion and looking worn out, as though they had reached the end of their lives. As they proceeded forward, rotting giants ran out, increasing in number and strength. When one side weakened and the other strengthened, it became difficult for them to advance. After several battles, the City of Silver's expedition team finally broke through the lockdown and barricades of the monsters and came to a quiet area. There was no sound at all. With regards to this, Colin had no choice but to break the silence and remind everyone. This means that we have truly entered the Giant King's Court and are about to approach the core region. The danger level will only increase, not decrease. Upon hearing this, a few members of the team began to waver due to the influence of twilight. From their point of view, although they didn't dare to stay in one place in the earliest stages most of the time, afraid that they would be surrounded by the rotting giants, they had ultimately eliminated all the monsters in a tiny area. They felt they could rest for a while and obtain many characteristics, ingredients, and formulas. This expedition could be said to be very fruitful, leaving them no reason to continue delving deeper. What they should do was seek out a suitable building and set up an advance camp to make preparations for a second expedition. Faced with such a suggestion, Colin didn't say much. He only emphasized the objective of this exploration was to figure out the general situation of the Giant King's Court. He then led one of the members named Antonia to placate those who had wavering wills. As the elder Lovia also supported the chief, a small number of members adjusted their mindset and followed the chief. After a while, they saw a huge stone staircase. It was entirely grayish-white, dyed with an orange-yellow glow. Arcana overrated him. T-Bait and Shadows. T-Bait is kind of pretty good. From what I read, again, I'm not done T-Bait. I read a lot of the manhwa. I liked it. Shadow Slave I can't speak to. I have no idea. I haven't read any of it. Till now, excluding endings, what's your best volume? Excluding endings? This is probably not going to be a well-liked opinion, but 3. I love Traveler. Klein running around, just killing fucking pirates. That shit was goated as fuck. Every step of the staircase was relatively high. If they were ordinary humans, they would definitely find it hard to walk. Fortunately, the shortest member of the team, Lovia, was nearly 1.9 meters tall. On the huge staircase, it was so majestic that one had to look up to see the city walls. There were many signs of burn marks and damage on the walls, and some places were impaled with arrows that were as thick as ordinary trees. The several meter long arrow had even caused some rocks to crumble. In the middle of the city was a door that was tens of meters tall. Its color was grayish blue and there were golden nails embedded into it. There were 2 guards standing outside that exuded an extremely oppressive stance. They were 5 to 6 meters tall. That's a lukewarm take, really? Wearing exquisite, sturdy silver armor, one of them held a great sword while the other held a great axe. Behind the visored armor, there was a pair of orange light that seemed like a single eye. Silver Knight. Colin raised his right hand and swung his sword horizontally to stop the members behind him. He had removed the 2 swords on his back. Silver Knight. Derek's eyelids twitched. Shortest is 6'9". That's nuts. Damn, bro. Bro, has anyone told these guys if they just said fuck the City of Silver and just straight up join the NBA, they could be making bank? Has anyone told? Are they aware of this cheat code? He had recently come into contact with the information that only the upper echelons of the City of Silver knew. He knew that the Sequence 3 of the Giant Pathway was Silver Knight. He knew that the City of Silver lacked the correct potion formula, but had the characteristic. What horrified Derek was that the guards of the Giant King's court were 2 Sequence 3 demigods. This was a higher level than the City of Silver's strongest combat force. This was only the area of the royal court's entrance. It was questionable if they would venture any deeper. After the initial shock, Derek couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. Perhaps he could find the potion formula for the Giant Pathway Sequence 4. That way, the chief could become a Silver Knight and greatly increase the strength of the city. When the time came, they could explore the Giant King's court at a deeper level, find more potion formulas, hunt more monsters, and get even higher level characteristics and materials. Dude, I feel like Colin dies here, and Derek somehow, one way or another, gets named the new chief. Oh, that'd be so goated. Derek, the new king of the city, or the chief of the City of Silver. Fours, the student of the Abraham family. Geo, member of MI9. Like, oh, yes, I already knew Silver Knight, Dr. Z. Like, oh, this shit is gonna be goated as fuck. Subconsciously, Derek looked around and discovered that the reactions of the other members, such as Joshua, Heyman, and Toniana, were and Tiona were the same as his. They were nervous and fearful. At this moment, Lovia took 2 steps forward and stood beside Colin. She looked up at the 2 Silver Knights and said if there was only one, we would have a chance. What she meant was that with 2 Silver Knights, even if they were willing to suffer heavy casualties, they couldn't clear them. After all, even the chief could control his mythical creature form and normally battle a Sequence 3. The environment here didn't permit him to make similar attempts. The decadence that the Twilight had brought might make something that could previously be resisted be impossible to withstand. Colin nodded and glanced at Lovia and Derek and said, from the looks of it, as long as we don't get close to the door, the guards won't attack. Perhaps we can try to lure one of the Silver Knights away and finish it off, Antonia said. In this expedition, her main mission was to rely on a sealed artifact she wielded to treat her enemy's psychological problems. Her thought process was to wait for the members to lure one of the Silver Knights away before using the train and their combined efforts, as well as the chief and Lovia, to deal with the remaining one. This was a textbook solution. Even if there's only one Silver Knight, it'll be very difficult. Furthermore, there's no guarantee that the Silver Knight you lure away won't reveal its mythical creature form directly, Colin rejected. Without waiting for the rest of the team to speak, Colin looked back and said, "Let's take another path." Derek found some information in the World of Reflections in Afternoon Town. It recorded a tunnel behind the Giant King's court. Shepherd Elder Lovia cast her gaze on Derek. She was indifferent and calm. Derek raised the unshadowed crucifix higher. Subconsciously. "All right," Lovia agreed. Hence, the expedition team retreated from the huge stone staircase and left. Before long, they saw a rugged trail. On the right was a towering cliff, and on the left was a bottomless chasm. Of course, it was only a trail for giants. To members of the City of Silver's team, it was relatively spacious. Did you watch? Sure, yeah. At the edge of the cliff, grayish-blue swollen palms stretched out the orange clouds and grabbed onto the ground. They were densely packed. They were all giants. Even if there were sequence 7 or 6 giants, they were able to destroy the City of Silver's expedition team just by relying on numbers. Just as Colin was about to swing his sword, Derek had a strange feeling. He raised the unshadowed crucifix higher and pressed one of his fingers onto a thorn. The pure cross emitted a bright twilight glow as though it had returned to a state of noon. They surged towards the edge of the cliff, enveloping the grayish-blue giants. The giants froze at the same time as their bodies began to fade. They weren't real giants, but that of wraith and shadows left behind by the tragic deaths of them. It was a saint, therefore, the unshadowed crucifix had sensed them, a saint-level sealed artifact of the Sun Domain, the nemesis of wraiths and shadows. After easily killing these monsters, the City of Silver's expedition team wearily proceeded forward. After a while, they finally circled around the mountain and cliff and saw a dark forest. In the forest, there were the trees were tens of meters tall and extremely thick, but the barks were peeling off and the trunks rotting. The leaves were supposed to be entangled together, but they formed a barricade in midair, blocking the light of dusk, darkening the interior. Derek looked ahead and calculated how much longer he could use the crucifix for. He said to the chief, "This is the waning forest where the ancestors of the giants are buried. In other words, the Giant King's parents." Colin said, "It has already been destroyed. Even if there are remnants of danger, it won't be too powerful. We can try exploring it." "Yes, Your Excellency," Derek replied. "My cross can deal with the environment here. I'll walk in front." He remembered that Mr. World had reminded him that there might be some kind of corruption in the forest and that the crucifix could help him. Colin nodded. "Be careful of your surroundings," he said. Derek took a silent breath and took a huge stride forward. At the same time, he used the convenience of walking forward to recite Mr. Fool's name. Then Klein, whose gaze had been blocked by the dusk and had been disconnected for some time, could finally see the situation, but he was unable to significantly expand his POV. 11:14. The remnant will. Of who? Okay, the tea's still very hot, but it's starting to get bearable. The forest that should have been engulfed in darkness and in decline was filled with orange-red lights of dusk. The light was intense and burned like fire, but it couldn't help but carry a sense of brilliance with it. Damn you, Romero. Damn you. With the crucifix in hand, Derek slowly walked ahead. The grizzled demon hunter, Colin, who was walking behind him, held his 2 swords in his hand. What kind of tea? Whatever tea username recommended. Haim, who was walking behind him to the right, held the Thunder God's Roar Hammer. This 2-meter tall half-giant was prepared to switch the hammer for the sealed artifact with Derek at any time. The radiance emitted by the unshadowed crucifix became increasingly dim, as though the sun had already set on the horizon, leaving behind only a sliver of light. Of course, no one from the City of Silver had ever seen such a scene. They could only see the descriptions from the ancient. They could only read the descriptions of the ancient literature to imagine it. This was the first time they understood what a sunset was. As the team ventured deeper, a wind began to blow in the nearly frozen forest. It was as though countless beings were weeping within the forest. However, Derek and company didn't feel the effects of the wind. The sound of the wind intensified, making their hearts tremble. Derek felt a chill run down his neck. Generally speaking, it was human instinct to shrink their necks, raise their arms, and defend their backs at such a moment. They would then half-turn their body and observe the situation and be ready to attack, but Derek didn't do so. He had full faith in the team behind him and that they would react in time. With a whoosh, a silver blade wrapped in small snake-like electric bolts flew across the side of Derek's neck, vaporizing a blurry, twisted figure. At the same time, the unshadowed crucifix was triggered by something. It suddenly broke out of the gloomy and dim state it only emitted to once again became bright and pure. And Nagito, we're 40% of the way there. Dawn seemed to come to the surrounding area immediately as indescribable black shadows began to show themselves in the light of dawn. What are these? Derek said. They don't look like wraiths, shadows, or spirits. They seem to have a remnant aura of some sort. They seem to have combined with the power of dusk. I've never seen such monsters, Derek said. Relying on the unshadowed crucifix, which was the nemesis of the evil, the team proceeded rather smoothly. Before long, they arrived deep within the forest. Through the trees, they could vaguely see a cliff and clouds in the distance. The damage here wasn't too serious. The branches and the leaves remained suspended in mid-air, blocking the frozen dusk. By the way, can I just say, can you imagine what it would be like to have never seen the sunset before and then you just get to see it on a random fucking Tuesday and you're like, holy fuck, they weren't kidding, this shit is goated. The damage here wasn't too serious. The branch and the leaves suspended in midair, blocking the frozen dusk. After circling the area, Derek's eyes lit up. He saw two grayish-white model tombstones. Before he could observe them, the rays of dusk that shone through the gaps of the leaves produced a strange refraction at the same time, interweaving themselves into a gigantic figure nearly 10 meters tall. Before he could observe them, nope, already read that. This figure was very blurry and contained an everlasting, undisturbed air to it. I'm not fucking gonna try to pronounce that, okay? Its skin was grayish blue and it wore silver gray armor that seemed to be stained with blood. Its face was glowing like the setting sun. It was as though it was the manifestation of his eyes. Just its existence alone had caused the surrounding trees to and the void to bend. Upon witnessing the scene, a thought surfaced in everyone's mind. Ormir. Derek, gone but never forgotten. Goodbye, my boy. Everyone had goosebumps, and their goosebumps emitted grayish-blue colors. At the center of their eyebrows, flesh and blood were squirming, as though a monster was about to bore out. Autumn, how's it going, man? They had collectively been put to a state on the verge of losing control. They didn't even see his mythical creature form. Merely approaching the figure had led to signs of losing control. Derek was relatively okay because of the pure light of the unshadowed crucifix. At this moment, Colin had already bent down. He held two swords smeared with ointment and ran towards that terrifying creature. But Colin didn't charge in a straight line. His footwork was ingenious as he moved left and right in a zigzag pattern. This figure stood in the twilight looking at everything with its eyes. Suddenly, the glow on its face flashed. It then bent down and pounded its fist into the ground. The ground shook violently as a fissure opened up. It made Derek and others lose their balance as they almost fell. As for Colin, who had leapt ahead of time, he cleaved downwards with his swords. At that moment, the figure seemed to come from a mythical legend, pulled out an illusory sword from the fissure in the ground, the giant sword that seemed like a manifestation of dusk itself. The orange-red storm of light took form and swept across Colin, as well as Derek and company. Wherever the light passed, the trees would wither and the soil would turn to sand. Damn. Never expected Derek to die so soon, but you know what? Someone had to go eventually. When the twilight storm was blocked by the walls, causing the forest to shake, at some point in time, Lovia had appeared beside Derek. The figure in front of him was a tall and illusory figure. The figure with a dark red glow near its eyes genuflected and stabbed illusory great swords into the ground. At this moment, Colin's two swords slashed at the nearly 10-meter tall figure. The silver-white figure didn't suffer any damage though. The silver-grey armor that was covered in blood spots only dimmed a little. And with the force of the rebound, Colin soared up again, launched in midair and attacking. In the waning domain, he didn't dare release his mythical creature form. Seeing that the phantom that stemmed from the legend had been blocked, Derek hurriedly followed the sudden tremor and heat from the crucifix in his palm and pressed his hand against a spike. His blood surged into a cross again, along with the pain. A vigorous and bright light churned out, flying into the air and turning downwards, instantly enveloping the figure. In the holy, solemn, pure light, the gigantic and illusory figure stopped moving, as if it had encountered its natural enemy. Seizing this opportunity, the evil spirit knight in front of Lovia pulled out the great sword from the ground, and with several rifts that oscillated between disappearing and reappearing, struck the enemy. Colin putting in Bro, Colin is... what a goat. Colin then cleaved downwards, enveloping the figure's head. Joshua, Haim, and others didn't hesitate to attack as well. After 3 rounds, the illusory figure that seemed to have transmigrated finally began to crumble. Let's go! Who would win? Who would win? Colin Iliad versus an actual ancient god. Colin. Damn. Alright, I was a little tired. Not my strongest place. But, we make it work, baby. Let's go! When Colin landed on the ground, he said, that should have been the remnants of Ormir's will to protect this area. After years of melding with the environment, it has a certain degree of form. What secrets are hidden here? Upon hearing the chief's words, everyone looked forward. It's just a remnant will and had almost no strength left, but it's so terrifying, Derek thought. There's no need for me to do anything. I have to say, the crucifix is so useful in the Giant King's court. It's so good that I'm wondering if it's Adam's goal. Klein heaved a sigh of relief above the grey fog. He then cast his gaze where the Giant King's remnant will had been. The first thing he saw was 2 giant modeled tombstones. On one of them was the word mother and the other father in Jotun. They contain a mysteriousness that could stir the powers of nature. It allowed one to directly feel the mixed emotions of nostalgia, sadness, and pain, and without guilt, without realizing that they were infected and making them depressed. Behind the stone pillar was a grave that had already been destroyed. It was unknown who had opened the lids of the coffins, as though a confirmation had been made. This made the 2 greyish-white skeletons laying inside have become bathed in light that penetrated the leaves, dyeing them orange-red. The 2 skeletons had the shape of humans. One was less than 1.9 meters tall, and the other was less than 1.8. So they just seem like kinda tall. How the fuck did Ormir... Bro, Ormir's mom cheated on his dad. How is the mom like 7 feet, 6'9", and the dad is like 7 feet, and Ormir is like 10? Damn. Ormir's mom cheated on his dad. Oof. Only a reasonable conclusion. What, you're trying to tell me mom is 5'3", dad is 5'7", kid is 8 feet? Yeah, no, the mailman is 8 feet, motherfucker. You are not taller than 6'9", Sound. Don't lie to me. Cheated with who? The mailman, of course. One of the two humanoid skeletons was not more than 1.9 meters tall, and the other 1.8. At that moment, it felt as though Klein had returned to the time when he saw the door of light in the cocoons. This isn't the corpse of a giant. This is a human. The parents of Ormir were humans? No matter how Klein looked or scrutinized the skeletons, he couldn't find any characteristics of giants. The hunky, 10-meter tall mailman. This isn't the... no. Their limbs were proportional and their skulls had 2 eyes. After a brief silence, Klein lowered his head. Maybe they're parents that aren't related by blood? Oh, 1.8 meters. Wow. No, 1.8 meters would be like 6 feet. No, never mind. 1.8 because... Oh, no, that's 5'9". A meter, 1.8 meters is 5 foot. I'm taller than that. What, a meter 9 is 6'2". I'm not taller than that. Maybe the ancestors of the giants are humans? In the first epoch where chaos and madness ruled, some humans fused with characteristics, mutating into cruel, irrational giants? On the one hand, their descendants inherited their physical characteristics, and on the other, they gradually recovered mentally. Hence, they stabilized to become a savage and bloodthirsty race. You were taller than a giant's mother. Hell yeah. Among them, Ormir was the first batch of mutants, but he had managed to maintain a certain level of rationality. Hence, he became a god? After his thoughts settled, Klein began making connections. The source of all this does resemble the origin myth of the original creator. Damn. So humans are goated after all. Everyone's like, oh no, humans are like mere fucking try that again, motherfucker. Humans are goated. So humans had some fused with some characteristics. They then, through the kids, let out the characteristics and just became regular people. And because they let out the characteristic, they were able to mentally stabilize because their mixing characteristics wasn't fucking with their mental capacities. But then that's why the kids were increasingly more and more insane because they had like a bunch of characteristics. But Ormir had some level of intelligence, so he became the god of the giants because he was like, hey, idiots! Listen to me! God, you can't fucking think. So, that makes sense. Okay. What do you sound like you have... What? The indomitable human spirit is undefeated! Let's go! What does the Giant King want to label the waning forest as forbidden? He doesn't want for others to know that humans were the ancestors of the giants? But if that's the case, he could have just cremated his parents' remains. But who the hell opened the tomb? ASG, who killed the Giant King? The god of dawn, Badeli? Or the other subsidiary gods? Species insecure? Yeah. Yes, Dr. Z, I'm insecure about our species. I would be if there were fucking giants. I'd be like, damn, we're inferior, bro. Also, since the ancestor of the giant was a human, what about elves, sanguine, and other creatures? The ancestors of dragons are lizards? Luvia. Why are you like this? In the middle of the second epoch, there were factions regarding the different origins that led to the conflict. As Klein didn't have many clues, it was hard for him to make any judgments. At this moment, Colin, led by Lovia, Derek, and company, to the stone tablet, saw the remains of the tomb. They fell silent. Finally, Joshua asked, "These are the parents of the Giant King?" From the City of Silver's Dawn Paladin's point of view, the two corpses were indeed not as tall as giants. They were even inferior to him. They were identified as young, even if they were identified as young giants, the proportions and the facial features didn't match. After a while, Colin said, "That's why it's a secret." Does this mean that giants are actually a branch of humans, a result of the transformation brought about by characteristics? And Tiona asked. The ancestors of giants are humans, Derek thought? With this in mind, he recalled a companion who had lost control, especially those from the giant pathway, and vaguely believed that it wasn't impossible for the God Emperor of Mankind. I mean, the God Emperor of Mankind is like 50 feet tall or something, no? He's like fucking massive. I don't actually know the size, but like he's fucking huge. But he's also dead. But he's also kind of not dead. Ramiro would 100% join the Heavenly Court. Those who lost control became abnormally large. Their skin was covered in grayish-blue color. Perhaps, Colin answered. The members of the City of Silver's expedition team fell silent again. At this moment, Derek glanced at Lovia and realized that this member had a calm expression. At this moment, Colin looked around and said split into groups of 2 or 3 and search the area. The members of the team snapped back to their senses and began exploring. Unfortunately, this forest didn't have anything of value. Derek then exchanged a sealed artifact with Haim to prevent his characteristic from being purged. Then they followed Colin out of the forest, circling around a protruding boulder along the mountain, and found a gigantic cave. Heavenly Court? Oh, I thought that was referring to the Heavenly Court from like Buddhism, no? Outside the cave, a stone stele had already shattered into pieces. Under the orange glow of twilight, there was an indescribable sense of waning death. After entering the cave, the expedition team followed the weathered stone slabs and peeling murals. With every step they took, they felt their lifespans were weakening. After an unknown period of time, they finally saw the grayish-blue door. On both sides of the door were pieces of iron-black fragments that seemed to belong to some kind of armor. There should have been guards here, Colin said, as he took out a bottle and drank it. His eyes were quickly tinged with a layer of dark yellow and complex dark green patterns. After observing the door for a while, he nodded and walked into the hall. All of them passed through the door and came inside. The hall seemed to be held by an invisible hand. I guess technically I'm referring to like Chinese mythology, Ramiro, not Buddhism, but I mean the Chinese mythology includes Buddha, so it's kind of weird. Derek subconsciously looked around, and he saw two murals. One of the murals was a giant whose full body silver armor emitted an obvious glow. At the location of his eyes, there was a blob condensed from pure dawn of light. In the middle of another mural was a lady with dark brown hair. She was referred to as a female giant in a long leather skirt. She had a wheat head and fruits that were surrounded by fields ready to be harvested. God of Dawn, Badali, Goddess of Harvest, Umbella. Derek then retracted his gaze and looked at Colin. Is the chief hoping that the City of Silver would have a real harvest? Derek thought. Derek then searched for valuables. About 7 or 8 minutes later, they gathered together and followed the chief to the main hall. Colin stabbed the two swords into the gap of the stone slabs in front of him and stretched out his hands and pressed them on both sides of the door. With just a bit of force, it opened. Badale. Interesting. Baldly. The orange and splendid light shone in, allowing the City of Silver's team to see the palace and the numerous towers. Bloodhill? Fucking doubt it. The scale, magnificence, and epic proportion of a myth felt more obvious and shocking to everyone. Everyone held their breath. It was this fully immersing themselves in the scenery. It was the same for Klein above the grey fog. This was the giant king's court, a real divine kingdom. After about 10 seconds, Colin pulled out his swords and said to Lovia, "Try checking out the situation on both sides." Lovia acknowledged and took 2 steps forward. Outside, there was a platform with staircases on both sides. In front of them stood a railing formed with greyish-white stone that faced the tallest pillar. Damn you, sound. There was a huge door with countless mysterious symbols. It looked very dignified. I say Badale. Badale? Yeah, that's not bad. That's about where I would land too. The corridor, stairs, and other objects connected in a multitude of places. Lovia's hair floated up as the stone that was bathed in light protruded out. The doll, forming a greyish-white doll. The doll didn't have any spirituality. It was like a strong puppet. It followed the staircase and walked down one level after another. Suddenly, its body stopped as a fine silver light burst out from within. Lovia wasn't alarmed. She followed the steps from before and created another stone golem. This time, the golem walked to the end of the staircase and stopped at the entrance below. Colin watched intently and said, "Let's go to the right, but be careful." Although he didn't find any danger, the fact that he couldn't discern the situation meant there were many problems. With such a reminder, Derek and company became even more tense. The group of 3 began to slowly walk down as they watched each other's back. As they walked along the high staircase, Joshua, who was wearing a scarlet glove, suddenly heard a series of tapping sounds. It was as if there was a person following them in silence. At this moment, Lovia was to his side. From the corner of his eye, he could tell the footsteps were definitely not coming from her. A chill ran down Joshua's spine as he said, "There are footsteps behind me." Lovia turned her head, allowing a 5-meter-tall silver knight to appear in front of her. After a while, Lovia shook her head. There's nothing there. Beware the spectator. Nah, I'm just kidding. Hey, Adam wouldn't be here. Hamon maybe, but if Hamon's here, you're all fucked anyway. This really feels like a map from a Souls game. Everything about Derek feels like it's from a Souls game. Everything. Colin having to constantly run to the chief to talk about something feels like when you spawn at a bonfire and you have to run to the maiden to level up or whatever. Colin having, Derek having to go exchange his merit points for characteristics feels like getting souls spawning at a bonfire, having to run to a merchant to buy some to buy some upgrade points or whatever. Like, fuck me, it all feels like so souls based. Lovia's response made Joshua even more wary as Joshua asked, "Did any of you hear footsteps?" With Thunder God's roar and a broadsword in hand, Derek recalled and shook his head. Haim also replied, "Maybe it's your hallucination." "No, I heard it very clearly," Joshua frowned. Colin half turned and said, "Haim and Tiona, check on Joshua's condition." "Yes, Your Excellency." They walked towards Joshua and pressed the unshattered crucifix, which appeared to be a manifestation of pure light, against the teammate's forehead. But the artifact didn't undergo any changes. But the sealed artifact, immediately following that, the wine red hair female warrior, Entiona, came to the side of Joshua and raised her hand. There was a pale golden bracelet around her wrist. On it were 3 small bells. The twinkling sounds of the bells calmed Joshua's heart. He was no longer as tense. "No problem." And Tiona cast her gaze to Colin. Colin then looked at Joshua and said, "It might not be an illusion, but you have to be careful if there are any abnormalities." "Yes, Chief." After the doubts were put away, the expedition team continued downstairs. Suddenly, everyone heard a groan. From the corner of his eye, Derek saw Joshua raise his hand and strangle his neck. As he was a Dawn Paladin, he had extreme strength. Just as he let down a grunt, his hand snapped his neck. Joshua collapsed. The person who killed him was himself. Damn, Joshua. I didn't know you that well, but yeah, I don't care. Sorry. Although Derek and others didn't manage to react in time, their years of training experience made them take up battle positions. They heard another grunt. It was from Lovia. The facial muscles of a woman with silver gray hair tightened. She plopped to the ground on the wide staircase and grimaced with pain, her hands slowly but uncontrollably clenching her neck. Just as Lovia was about to exert strength, 2 swords that were smeared in silver-gray ointment reached out and pried her palms apart. Colin, who was already prepared, reacted in time. Lovia's body twitched as she lowered her head, opening her mouth and spat out a piece of torn flesh. He's like, "Yeah, you're right, Dr. Z. He just said, 'Goodbye, cruel world,' and just snapped his own neck," because that's obviously the most easiest way to do that. She took a deep breath, and as she finally recovered, she propped her elbows to the ground and took a step forward, prostrating herself and swallowing the flesh and blood organs she just spat out. Finally, Lovia looked up and said, "It was degeneration, a form of degeneration that everyone has." "Do you have a solution?" Colin asked. "Yes." "The Lord that created everything," she muttered. "The Lord that reigns behind the curtain of shadows, the degenerate nature of all living things." The name of the true creator, Derek thought. An orange glow became more saturated and closer to the color of blood. Above the grey fog, Klein's expression turned solemn. Although he couldn't see anything through his true vision, he could sense that there was a gaze cast from afar, causing it to interfere with his observation. In addition, that gaze gave him an incredible sense of familiarity. It's difficult not to be familiar with it. The first half of my life after I transmigrated was to deal with him, his son, his oracle, his wish to descend, his ravings. Klein began to focus on the City of Silver's expedition team. The person who was focusing on the City of Silver's expedition team was none other than the true creator. Frankly speaking, when Lovia began to recite the name, Klein wanted to smite her and eliminate the problem, but he held back the urge because he wasn't confident he could finish off a shepherd with one strike. The evil spirit that Lovia grazed was likely a sequence 3. Although it had died a long time ago, its current strength combined was still at a level of a sequence 4. It likely wasn't a problem for her to withstand lightning storm. Music's gone? Wait. Oh. Sorry. There we go. Sorry, guys. And once again, the fool couldn't easily kill Lovia. It would be a sign of fear in Colin's eyes. In addition, Klein believed that Colin was happy to see Lovia chant the name of the true creator. He wanted to use this to put the fool in check. This was an act of disrespect in front of deities, making it very easy to anger great existences, but there was nothing Colin could do. He couldn't simply trust the fool and the true creator. He had to probe them. Only by doing so would the City of Silver not suddenly be destroyed like the cities that were buried deep in darkness. What a pity. If the unshadowed crucifix was in my hand, I'd have a chance to instantly kill that silver knight. Klein sighed. He hadn't discovered anything unusual with Joshua until the warrior strangled himself. Just as Lovia said, it was a form of degeneration that he originally had. It was no different than losing himself because of money and beauty. The staircase should have remnant godhood powers that represented degeneration. They're embedded in the environment, making it difficult to resist. From the honorific name, the true creator wields degeneration. Just his gaze alone is enough to disperse the power. Was the true creator like him now, watching the movements of the expedition team in his divine kingdom? On Earth, this is called a fellow viewer watching the same live stream. Klein is such a nerd, bro. If he were to send gifts, would the true creators gift even more? I love how he's like, you want to go band for band, true creator? By making this teasing remark, he tried to ease his nervousness. This was true God. Be it Adam or Amon, they weren't qualified to be on par with him. At that moment, Lovia stood up. She looked at Colin and said this region will no longer suffer from degeneration. Normally, the expedition team would ignore Joshua's corpse, whether they advanced or retreated. They couldn't afford to waste time. But since Lovia had used a tone of certainty, this meant that they could wait and rest and deal with it. Derek put down Haim's broadsword and walked to Joshua's side, staring at him for a few seconds. He bent down to pick up the scarlet glove he wore. He still remembered that Joshua always bragged about the item he had obtained. He could clearly recall that when he left Afternoon Town, he said that he would be forced into a marriage. He had no idea who his wife would be, yet an hour later, his teammate turned into a corpse. Well, you don't have to worry about getting married now. Problem solved, Joshua. Good job. Look at how my lord is helping. Kinda true. To the City of Silver, this was something that happened often. No one cried or broke down, but there were emotions they had. Just as Derek raised his hand and aimed it at Joshua's corpse, a flame blew out, enveloping the teammate who had been fighting alongside him. After the cremation, Colin put away the characteristic that had seeped out. The rest of the members grabbed a handful of ashes and put them in a hidden pocket in their clothes. Amidst the silence, they continued downwards. They reached the bottom. Behind it, there was a towering palace, bathed in the dusk of glow. What? Bathed in the glow of dusk. Behind it was a corridor and a staircase that led to another area. The palace door was open, and inside was pitch black. Colin observed and said, just like the outside world. What he meant was that the group should use various means to maintain a lit environment and don't fall into absolute darkness. Haim activated the unshadowed crucifix, allowing it to envelop all his teammates. And Tiona lit a lantern in her hand. The group entered the palace and walked through the empty hall, their footsteps reverberating into the distance. Just as he walked, Derek felt his eyelids grow heavy. At this moment, he heard the chief's growl, "Don't fall asleep." The dusk of glow almost... Yeah, exactly, McSeely. Devil, how's it going, man? Derek woke up, snapping out of his fatigued state. At that moment, a female warrior's body went limp and fell to the ground as though she had fallen asleep. Then she disappeared into thin air. Colin and Lovie exchanged looks for a while before shaking their heads and going forward. During this process, they would hurt themselves occasionally, using the pain to stay awake. Finally, they passed through a bunch of arches and saw the darkness that couldn't be dispelled up ahead. With the help of the light from the team, they discovered that it was a hall with countless murals. In the middle of the hall was a long, dark red table. Situated around it were high-backed chairs with intricate patterns. Derek immediately felt this was similar to the Tarot Club. Suddenly, balls of light lit up and murmurs sounded around them. Around the hall stood stone pillars that didn't support the dome. Scarlet flames were ignited one after another, illuminating the surroundings. The murmurs grew louder, as if they had passed through a long and distant space and arrived at their destination. A hall so lively it was as though a gathering was being held. Around the table, blurry, illusory figures appeared. A total of 11 figures sat on the chairs. Strongest organization. Oh shit, that's the title. Yeah, Monkey reading fast today? Fuck yeah, Nuggets, how we're going, baby. We ride! Strongest. Read carefully. I'm trying. Also, to be honest, I'm reading fast because I'm really sleepy. So I know the longer if I try to go slow today, I'm gonna start falling asleep, and that's not good. Listen, 3 more chapters. Wait. Yeah, 3 more chapters. Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. Okay. As the flame flickered, Derek and company looked at the table. The first thing they noticed was the figure closest to them. The figure wore a simple linen robe and had a head of silver long hair. Everyone found the figure oddly familiar. In an instant, they felt as though a bolt of lightning struck their minds. Angel of Fate, or a Boris. Just as the pupil of the team from the City of Silver dilated, the figure turned around and looked at them. A pair of indifferent eyes occupied their vision as extraordinarily mysterious rings appeared. In a daze, Derek saw the figure in front of him, a handsome, radiant, energetic man. He wore a white robe and had short golden hair. Adam. With his appearance, the surroundings became abnormally bright, and the warm feeling was like a ray of light. Okay. Alright, hold on. Alright, we should be back now. Hold on. We're back. It's okay. We're back. I got backup plans, okay? We're okay. We're back. It's okay. I won't let the stream... I'm not saying the stream can't die. I'm just saying, like, I'm saying I got backup plans, okay? We're okay. That was unfortunate timing. Okay. Am I awake now? A little bit. Yeah, that did help, Justin. I secretly did that just to make myself get awake. Yep. Okay. Okay. In a daze, Derek saw a figure in front of him, a handsome, radiant, energetic man, wearing a pure white robe and short golden hair. With his appearance, the surroundings became abnormally bright. The warm feeling was like a ray of light, instantly filling every spot. Ancient sun god? Derek felt as though he had seen the day as mentioned in legend. The man took a step forward and his blurry figure overlapped with Derek. Then Derek sat behind the dark red long table occupying one of the high-back chairs. He had become the handsome... Is the audio choppy? What the fuck? You're kidding sound. It's good? Oh, thank God. Okay, I was about to lose my fucking mind. I was like, you're kidding. Okay. Okay. He had become the handsome and radiant man who was attending a secret gathering. At the same time, Colin, whose face was covered in scars, encountered the same figure. The figure was 7 or 8 meters tall, wearing a silver full-body armor, and his eyes were glowing like the light of dawn. He raised a long sword in his hand, pressing it against Colin's forehead like a scepter. Colin struggled for a moment, but quickly calmed down and was enveloped by orange light. With that, he and the giant in front of him merged into one. He strode towards the table and sat down. Lovia encountered a man in a long black robe. He had black curly hair over his shoulders and a pair of eyes that seemed to be covered in shadows. It was difficult to see his face clearly, but the silver threads, complicated patterns, and gorgeous accessories were reflected in her mind. Lovia trembled, but couldn't help but lower her head, allowing the layers of black wings on the man's back to wrap around her. She became the man and walked to the end of the table. There were 2 high-back chairs with complex patterns placed there. Lovia chose the left one. The remaining members of the expedition team also encountered similar situations, but the figures they faced were different. So they're all seeing someone who's like touching them or something, and then making them become one with them, and they go to sit down. What the fuck is happening? As they found their seats on both sides of the table, the area around the high-back chair at the seat of honor became darker, outlining a female figure that seemed to be enshrouded in fog. Right on the heels of that, a voice that seemed to transmigrate from ancient times echoed in the ears of the attendees. Transmigrate? We are trying to redeem ourselves and maintain the balance of the world. Dissociation and deviation are undoubtedly the most basic order. This is also in line with his thoughts. I can't deny that we all have our own sinister thoughts and desires, and this is normal. Death and spilling blood are inevitable, in the name of Rose redemption. Above the grey fog, Klein listened attentively. He couldn't wait to hear more. However, whether it was a scene or a voice, it began to loop as though it was fixed at a section. This is the establishment of the Rose Redemption? Previously, Medici said that it was an extremely secretive organization established by a group of corrupted angels. Now it seems like it's not the case. The person who said that was probably not Medici, but either Sauron or Einhorn. They actually don't know much about the Rose Redemption. Klein mumbled inwardly as he cast his gaze back on the team that were repeating their actions like a puppet. Did you get it? Ouroboros is here. Previously it was said Medici was the one who founded Rose Redemption. When the torches around the hall lit up, Klein had already found something unusual with his true vision. He saw the murals on the wall come alive and rapidly expand, overlapping with the hall. It made the tables, chairs, and floor tiles that had been cold for 1,000 years warm up again. It made the figures that had once been in this secret meeting cross the border of time, reviving at their fixed seats, allowing the words from the past to reappear. Many of the figures were familiar to Klein. One of them was Ouroboros. This king of angel, who was still a member of Rose Redemption, was the most lifelike among all the figures. Combined with how the scenes were looping, Klein began to suspect that the person who left the mural was Ouroboros. In the previous temple ruins, there were murals left behind by him, likewise for the ruined battlefield of gods. In the Giant King's court, there are similar murals and signs of power. I wouldn't believe it if anyone were to say it's not him. Just how much does this King of Angel like murals? He draws them wherever he goes. The second figure he noticed, sitting beside Ouroboros, he was dressed in black armor that seemed to be splashed with blood. He had hair that resembled fire, and looking young and handsome. The reason why he paid attention to this figure was because he had seen it in his dream. Red Angel Medici. These are the kings of angels who participated in the tarot gathering. Yeah, what? Huh? I don't know, I assume Dr. Z, the only thing I can think of Dr. Z is referring to is the ecclesiastic in Afternoon Town. These are kings of angels who participated in the secret gathering? Who else is involved? The medium to break the loop is the hall itself, but there's no need to destroy it. As long as it can break the cycle of fate, the dusk outside will seep in and dispel the abnormalities. They belong to the Divine Kingdom itself. In terms of status, they can only be stronger or on par with the power left behind by Ouroboros. After flipping a coin for a divination, Klein spread his spirituality towards the star representing the sun. Derek's spirit body immediately tore through the cycle of fate, creating an invisible crack. The orange glow from the light of dusk outside the palace immediately surged into the hall. Without waiting for the little son to figure out his situation, for fear that the true creator would lock on, Klein didn't hesitate to let him return to the real world. Derek snapped out of the daze and realized he was unknowingly sat at the table. He looked up and stared at Lovia, the chief, Haim, Antiona, and the others. Thinking back, Derek was on alert and said, "The cycle of fate." Indeed. Colin, who had experienced this before, nodded and stood up. But why would Ouroboros leave this behind for others to notice? Why would he leave this So this seems like, again, this makes me think like the thing that the ecclesiastic was talking about, like, hey, yeah, but he just likes it? That's so weird. The five figures on the left were the beautiful silver-haired man, the red-haired, arrogant seated man, an elder wearing a hood exposed only by his mouth, wrinkles, and beard, god of knowledge and wisdom, Hold on, sorry, I'm just pulling it up in my notes really quickly. Okay. And a handsome man dressed in white robes. The four on the right were black-robed mummy wrapped in bandages. A middle-aged man with facial features resembling the natives of the southern continent. A giant covered in silver armor and a supple and beautiful dignified lady. The two high-backed chairs at the very end were a man with dark curly hair and a woman shrouded in fog. At that moment, a guardian raised his right hand and pointed at the handsome white-robed man. His figure is made up of mysterious symbols. These symbols represent White Angel. How the fuck do you pronounce this name? This is so fucking stupid. White Angel is EBS, but what is this name? Pronunciation. AUKUS? White Angel. I'm gonna just say AUKUS. I don't know. AUKUS? Accusus. I'm gonna go with Accusus. I don't know. Okay? Oxus. I'm gonna go with Accusus. So EBS's name is Accusus. Cool. Okay, we now know another god's name. Before the guardian could finish his sentence, he let out a tragic cry as golden flames spewed out of his body. Please use Google Translate on this. Text to speech. Q.
AUKUSes. AUKUSes. AUKUSes.
AUKUSes? That's what you want? That's what you guys want me to go with? AUKUSes? I can go with that, but it just sounds horrible. AUKUSes? You want me to go with that? Okay. He instantly became a charred corpse, as if he had been reduced to ashes the moment it was touched. It made demon hunter Colin and Lovia incapable of saving him. Don't try to distinguish these symbols, they contain immense power, Colin said. Klein was thinking of another matter. White Angel AUKUSes, that's EBS's true name? If not for the fact that the Giant King's court itself isolates itself from projected power, using Jotun to read the names will attract his attention and incur divine punishment. Amidst his thoughts, Colin stabbed his sword in front of him, creating an invisible barrier. Then, Colin identified the symbols that formed those figures. He began reading it slowly. Angel of Fate, Ouroboros, War Angel, Medici, Wisdom Angel, Hera Bergen. I already knew this, but I'm gonna write it. Hera Bergen. At this moment, Colin had stopped inside the barrier that was constantly shaking, because this name was no stranger to the City of Silver. To the people from the City of Silver, this was the true name of the Dragon of Wisdom. Could it be that the Dragon of Wisdom became the Wisdom Angel next to the Lord? Everyone thought. But Klein discovered something strange. The history of the City of Silver had records using the name Hera Bergen. The language they used on a daily basis was Jotun. This also meant that in the past 2,000 or 3,000 years, people had definitely read Hera Bergen before, but there was no response from the God of Knowledge and Wisdom. And the Church of God of Knowledge was still unable to find the land. At this moment, Colin controlled his emotions and continued reading. Wind Angel. Lord of Storm named Leodero. Oh shit, motherfucker. We have all the... Bro, we have all the names. We get all the... We actually get all the names. That's crazy. White Angel, Aucuses. Dark Angel, Sasrier. Evernight Goddess, Amanisis. Let's go! Called it, baby! Called it! Let's go! God of Combat, Badhael. Am I crazy, or does Leodero make anyone else think of Leorio from Hunter x Hunter? Earth Mother, Umbella. God of Dead, Salinger. Already knew that. God of Spiritual Creatures, Tolzna. God of Spiritual Creatures. The Mutant King, God of Spiritual Creatures, Tolzna. An Annihilation, Demonic Wolf, Wolf's Goddess of Misfortune, Amanisis, disappeared. So the Mutant Kings, God of Spiritual Creatures. I don't know who that would be. I don't know what pathway that's the god of. Spiritual creatures? Prisoner? Although Klein had expected this, he was still stunned. The former Rose Redemption was frightening. This is one organization. Holy shit. Amongst the 7 deities today, 6 were members. There were also Death, God of Spiritual Creatures, and 3 Kings of Angels. This made him recall what the Red Angel once said: Rose Redemption has a close relationship with the birth of the true creator. It's impossible for you to imagine that the people that were once within Rose Redemption, but they've left. Stacked, bro. Actually. I'm just doing something really quickly. Okay. How do you not know the pathway has the word mutant in it? I'm sorry, Dr. Z. Did I not say prisoner? Am I losing my shit? Did I not say prisoner? Am I crazy? Because if I did, I don't know what you're getting all uppity with me about. God. In the past, Rose Redemption could be called the Deities Alliance. Jesus Christ, let's not do that. But such an organization could only develop itself quietly under the might of ASG. It had to hide, and secretly scheme in the Palace of Dusk. How powerful was ASG? He examined his own tarot club and realized that compared to Rose Redemption, it was child's play. Even if he counted Will Ossept and Pala Zoroast, Isaac Eggers, Reinette Heinker, they could no way compare to the Rose Redemption of the past. Even if I compare the current watered-down version of Rose Redemption, there's still a huge gap. After all, the leader and convener is only a Sequence 4 saint, Klein laughed. Organization could dude, actually. Like, because you think about it, it's like, oh, who's on your, oh, you've only got 6 people? Bro, we're a church. We have like 10,000 members. It's like, bro, we have like 9 members and we have 6 gods. You really want to do this? And you're like, wait, where are the other 3? It's like, oh, it's this guy named Salinger. Maybe you've heard of him. And you're like, based on their images, titles, and true names, I can confirm that Wind Angel, Wisdom Angel, and White Angel are the current Lord of Storm, God of Knowledge, and EBS. They really betrayed ASG and the City of Silver's creator and feasted on the deity they served. God of Combat and Earth Mother are indeed survivors of the Giant King's court. One of them is the eldest son of the Giant King and the other is his queen, their mother and son. So that way, the fact that Faina Potter didn't declare war on the Lord of Storm to help Fasak make things a little odd. It requires some thought. If a person says the name of a true god, they'll be punished like the guy who said the son's name, except Herberg, whose name is spoken regularly, truly the most chill god. That is kind of true. Herbergen is like, listen, bro, as long as you're not blaspheming, you say my name. I get... Although maybe he's just so old and decrepit, he's forgotten his own name, you know, he's like senile, he's like, because like, think about it, he was old 2,000 years ago, the guy's fucking dust right now. I did not say Hedda fuck you, username. Also, the goddess was indeed a former subsidiary god of the annihilation demonic wolf, the goddess of misfortune Ammonaisis. After that ancient god perished, not only did she grasp the authority of Evernight and ascend to the throne of Sequence 0, she single-handedly destroyed all the descendants of Flagrea and sealed the indigenous family's angel within the nation of Evernight, and used the Mother of Sky's body as her vessel as a descent. That's ruthless. Is Hedda Bergen a Germanic name? I think so. Bro. That is kind of ruthless, though, Evernight. It's okay, I like it. You definitely said Hedda Bergen. Fuck you, McSeely. No, he didn't. As a blessed of the Evernight, Klein raised his head to look around, afraid that his thoughts would leak out. After entering the foggy town and learning that Antigonus and the Mother of Sky were descendants of Flagrea, Klein had a certain idea as to the true identity of the Evernight goddess. After all, in the history of the City of Silver, it stated, the demonic wolf controlled the authority of Evernight. Combined with the indigenous family possession of the Seer Pathway and the Mother of Sky of the Nation of the Night belonging to Evernight, Klein suspected that Flagrea was an ancient god that had mixed 2 non-neighboring pathways characteristics and was extremely crazy and irrational. Hence, he guessed that the Evernight goddess might have something to do with Flagrea. From Grizel's travel, he learned that one of the 2 subsidiary gods of the demonic wolf had gone missing after he perished. While one submitted to the Phoenix ancestor Gregreus, furthermore, that true name corresponded to the death of the fourth epoch, Isaac's father. With that, he could vaguely connect the goddess of misfortune, Amonisis, to the Evernight goddess, Me Too! However, during his temporary status as a blessed, he didn't think too much about it. At this moment, he saw her real name. He wasn't too shocked. Instead, he felt relieved, as though he was on firm ground. But he was even more afraid of the Evernight goddess, because she didn't want the ancient god Flagrea to be revived. She controlled various matters of the seer pathway, preventing Beyonders who weren't cleared by her to advance. That's right, the ecclesiastic in Afternoon Town mentioned who tempted Sasrir, the left hand of God and the deputy of Divine Kingdom, but he couldn't say the name, as if it had been erased. Isn't that a demonstration of concealment? So clever. So clever. Other than I was thinking like, oh, it's Amon, because he can like erase his own, he can steal his name or whatever. No, it was Evernight, just using concealment. Other than a place like the Giant King's Court, there's no way to say the Evernight Goddess and Amonisis. Even if one did, no one could hear it. There are two people who convened Rose Redemption, Sasrir and the Goddess. Apart from the venue where the ploy was conceived, it's filled with the forces of concealment. In other words, the Goddess had single-handedly directed the fall of ASG, started the Cataclysm, and ended the Third Epoch. Compared to her, be it Adam or Amon, they are far from her. Is Evernight the final boss? What the fuck? What? Oh shit, bro. Evernight is the one who's been orchestrating all this shit for thousands of years? She's fucking... She's like, Adam, you need the spectator power, you need the author power to do all that? Fucking coward. I just brute force it. You're like, listen to me, you're gonna do what I want or I fucking kill you. And I'm like, ugh. Belonging to the kings often came to the place belonging to the dusk to conspire. Yes. Blank tempted Sasrir. Amonisis did. How could a true deity be so easily trapped by Adam's arrangements, though? Although it's not a conspiracy where the goddess yearns for the most is being used, making her unwilling to walk into a trap. How can the goddess who wields the forces of concealment plot the death of the City of Silver's creator be unprepared? What does this is also in line with his thoughts mean? Who is he? After understanding so much history, will I digest the scholar of your potion on the spot? Klein thought. I don't think so, because I feel like if you try to think about half of this shit in the real world, there'd be like 9 different gods who would try to insta-kill you. Like until Klein becomes an angel and is able to like seal his thoughts a little bit and like prevent himself from like corruption and shit. Like I feel like if Klein thought about half of this in the real world, he just like 9 different gods are killing him all at once. When that ecclesiastic phantom mentioned the 4th king of angel, it self-destructed. Is it because the remaining 3 became gods? The residents of the City of Silver would occasionally use the name Budhale and Herabergen, so why wasn't there an anomaly? What is the difference? The strongest among the kings of angels, the left hand of the god Sasrir, why did he disappear to the river of history? Perhaps he is one of the present-day evil gods, the true creator, dark side of the universe, mother tree of desire? There are remnants of godhood of degeneracy outside. Was this left by him? The birth of the true creator is also related to Rose Redemption? How will he react when he sees the murals in this hall? I'm saying Herrabergen. I'm not saying Heddabergen. I'm saying Herrabergen. God. God, this community is overreacting. With a thought, Klein looked at Lovia. The lady looked lost. She didn't seem to understand the names of the titles, but could recognize a portion of them. For example, Angel of Fate, Ouroboros. Why do people go missing in the darkness in the City of Silver? I don't know. It has something to do with the Evernight Goddess. I don't fucking know. And here it comes. Dr. Z is going to be so disappointed. Here it comes. She had become a believer of the true creator in the temple ruins filled with the murals left behind by Ouroboros. Derek stole a glance at Lovia but didn't notice any changes. As the son of the Tarot Club, Derek was one of the present people who knew of the situation of the outside world the most. She has single-handedly cursed a continent? But why? But why did she do that? Am I just dumb today? Like, maybe I'm like, I am super sleepy, so like I'm not as sharp as I normally want to be, but this was, wait, hold on. Furthermore, he had long known who the Kings of Angels were. He suspected that 3 of them had become deities. At this moment, he was the least confused and perplexed. Dr. Z tweaking? I don't know if you guys are just trying to gaslight me, but like, maybe, I don't even know. Fine. He was only slightly shocked at the Rose Redemption's level. This was more exaggerated than he had imagined. No wonder the Lord perished, Derek thought. At this moment, he swept his gaze at the chief's face as he muttered, "This is impossible. Impossible." As far as I can remember, the chief has never lost his composure like this. Did he think of the Lord perishing during the Rose Redemption? He can't accept that he'll never return? However, he had long learned of this from me. Just as Derek was puzzled, he discovered that the chief's expression had returned to normal. In the mind of the other members, the prophecy they learned in Afternoon Town appeared. We're as confused as you are. Omnipotent Lord, I repent. Blank, tempted Sasrir. The kings often came to the palace belonging to the dusk to conspire. It was already too late. By the time I discovered all of this, degeneration, bloodshed, darkness, rot, murder, corruption, and shadows had already drowned this land. A calamity will begin here. Calamity? The end of the world in a decade? Haim, who was holding the crucifix, took a long while to calm himself and said, "This is the place belonging to the dusk. These are the gods, subsidiary gods, and the kings of angels of the second epoch. They plotted everything, causing a huge calamity to happen. They made the Lord forsake the land?" "Most likely," Colin said. "If we can figure out what happened back then, do we have a chance to please the Lord and let him look at this land again?" Antiona asked. "Perhaps," Colin acknowledged. "Then let's continue exploring," everyone pleaded. This was the closest the city had gotten to a glimmer of hope in the past 2,000 or 3,000 years. Colin said, "Don't forget the principles to uphold during the exploration. Don't act rashly at any time." Having confirmed that this place is related to the redemption, we can always come back a second, a third, or even more times. There's no need to be in such a rush. Yes, Your Excellency. Under the arrangement of Colin, the members split up into smaller groups and searched the hall, but didn't discover anything. Of course, it wasn't that there was nothing. This was, after all, the divine kingdom of a god. What seemed like an ordinary long table, chairs, pillars, and torches might have special effects when taken outside. Furthermore, those effects could last a long time. Alas, it wasn't convenient for the team to bring them around, as they lacked practical value. As for the other murals, they were profiled with the different angels of the main murals. When combined, they formed a three-dimensional scene. After completing the search, Derek and company gathered again and followed the chief at the exit of the hall. With a 10-meter hall between the two of them, Colin surveyed the area and said, "There's a powerful guard outside." Dude. Basically, all the gods came from the Rose Redemption? You're telling me Rose Redemption is such a fucking cool kids club? Like, if you managed to get in, you were almost guaranteed to become a god? And if you were not in there, you were almost guaranteed to just get fucked? That's crazy. By the way, can I say how fucking funny it is? That Sasrair, one of the guys who founded it, is not a god. Get fucked, loser. Even such a powerful organization can't fix the fact that you're bitchless. Can't. Hell yeah, Nagito, we're reading so fast nowadays, boy. I'm fast as fuck, boy. Alright, last chapter. This will be chapter 8. If I can finish this in the next, 12 minutes, I'll be, 40 minutes ahead of schedule, which is decent, and then I can get to bed at a decent, because I'm going to bed right away, bro. I'm so sleepy. Holy fuck. Okay, let's go. People slander the Evernight just because she killed her enemies. Hey, a man kills his enemies. He's a conqueror. A woman does it, and all of a sudden, oh, the humanity. The sexism, the casual sexism around here. I won't stand for it. Upon hearing the chief's words, Lovia raised her question. Just like the two silver knights at the front of the Giant King's court, it won't take the initiative to attack. At least, that's how it seems for now. They were already near the exit, but the guards outside had no reaction. This meant that the other party didn't possess real intelligence or spirituality. They were likely just objects. Colin continued, heavy and huge. Huge. That's why she advocates for equality? Wrong. She advocates for equality because she's a transmigrator. That's what I say. After obtaining the corresponding... Bro, even the divination on that was right, okay? The City of Silver formed a tacit understanding. A team opened up a distance from the exit, but they faced towards the door, protected by Lovia. As the bait... Same guy that put the Lord of Storm at S tier? I did not. He was like B tier. As the bait to attract the guards, the team took the took the corresponding holy oil from the chief and smeared it across the floor of the exit. Haim, who held a crucifix, and Colin stood by the side of the door and used the stone columns to hide. Then Colin sheathed one of his swords onto his back and took out a small metal bottle, gulping down the inside. His aura rapidly faded and wasn't obvious anymore. This was another setup. Haim was in the open while Colin was hidden. After another 10 seconds, Lovia stretched out her right hand and grabbed at thin air. Her hair was dyed a deep blue, and a wind howled at the door as the door opened. Right on the heels of that, heavy footsteps could be heard, causing the entire hall to shake. A giant covered in iron-colored armor rushed into the hall with a halberd in hand. Its exposed parts didn't show any flesh or blood, as though they were made of metal. It didn't move and stood there, no different from a statue. The shaking in the hall became more and more obvious. The statue suddenly threw out the halberd in its hand, stirring up a hurricane that tore towards Derek and company. The halberd struck at an invisible barrier as the ripples spread out. In front of Lovia, an illusory figure that wore silver armor appeared at some point and stabbed its greatsword into the crack of the floor. I love how Colin's one move is like, stab the floor! And you're like, mate, I'm up here. And he's like, stab the floor! And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And somehow you still die. The giant statue didn't stop as it ran into the hall. At that moment, a whistling sound was heard under its feet as its massive body jerked backwards. It stepped on the ground that was smeared with holy oil. As the statue fell, the crimson light in its eyes bloomed as an invisible force appeared and held it up. Oh, this is not Colin. This is Alovia's spirit. I see. Okay. Stabby. Suddenly, a blinding white light shot out of the unshadowed crucifix, hitting the statue's eye. A dark red beam dimmed. Colin leapt up and, with the same sword in hand, plunged down like an eagle swooping down. Dawn appeared as they converged on the straight sword, making it exceptionally huge. Huge! With a poof, the bright sword pierced through the gap in the giant's armor, stabbing into its eye. The floor stabber pathway, sequence 4, stabbing marble. With the hands on the hilt of the sword, Colin exerted more force. As the statue fell to the ground, he pulled out the sword and leapt to the side. The giant statue lay at the door as its body emitted cracking sounds. Without looking at it again, Colin turned to look outside and said, "There are no other guards for now. We can handle this statue." Could have been Klein if he picked the sword. Don't remind me, McSeely. Sag. My boy Klein. Although, if my guess is right, Klein should be a sequence 3 in like 30 chapters. Let's go. Oh my god, my fucking arms hurt so bad. I mean, the floor stabbing is the coolest power in the series. Fuck you. Fuck you, Arter. According to his observations... Wait, hold on. Derek and company surrounded the giant and skillfully searched for materials. Klein watched the entire battle from the sidelines, impressed by the teamwork. According to his observations, it was unknown what metal the statue was made of. Its surface was covered with armor with shocking defensive strength. Furthermore, this giant statue didn't have any spirits. In other words, it was immune to the beyonder powers of the corresponding domain, such as spirit body, thread control, hypnotism, frenzy, and nightmare. It was like a walking fortress. Klein believed if he were in their shoes, the core powers of a bizarro sorcerer would be useless. He could only rely on his marionettes to deal with the statue. The distortion and disorder power of the Earl of the Fallen might be effective, but I might not be able to finish it off as quickly as them. A team of Beyonders with a tacit understanding would be able to produce the effects of 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Yes, that the Chief's confidence and timing as well as his decisiveness is also key, Klein nodded. I think unquanting a sword is... Ramiro, I have a sword, motherfucker. I have 2 right above. You've seen them. Shut up. Am I compensating? Maybe. Shut up. Who's asking? If this were a live stream, then you might not be able to help but send a gift as a tip. True. That'd be so based. Of course, there was a high chance that it was just a thought. After taking away the most valuable item on the statue, the expedition team proceeded forward. They followed the corridor and entered another hall. Just like that, they weaved through the layers of palaces, towers, and different corridors in an attempt to find more clues, as well as the entrance to the sea as described by Jack. Oh Oh my god, they might get to see the sea. We might get the scene from spoiler alert if you haven't seen Attack on Titans, close your fucking ears because you guys are fucking annoying. We get to see that scene where like Aaron walks out to the sea and he's like, "Oh my god, are our enemies out there?" I mean, not that depressing because Derek wouldn't do that, but like they get to see the ocean. Regardless of whether they believed the boy's words, they couldn't help but look forward to the dark blue sea behind the court. On the other side of the sea, there were kingdoms where humans flourished. There were no monsters hidden in the darkness over there. The sun rose and set as your... The sun rose and set, and lightning only appeared when it rained. During this username, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. No. No, thank you. During this process, the City of Silver's team didn't encounter many enemies. Noise cancelling again? Yes, I do have the noise cancelling on, Dr. Z. I can't turn it off. Hold on. But my problem is, I don't know why, but you guys will probably hear some white noise now, I think. Am I crazy? Just curious. How does it feel to be wrong? I don't know. Username is very familiar with that feeling. It's okay. He's fine. It doesn't even hurt. It doesn't even hurt anymore. He's just used to it. A small number of the team were evil. A small number of the monsters they found were evil spirits formed by the combinations of the remnant emotions and the power of dusk. Like a fan blowing? Yeah, I figured. Yeah, see? Which is so weird, because I don't know why it's like this. Like, it wasn't like this before. It shouldn't be like this, but I don't know, my mic is picking up some... I don't know if my mic is just fucking dying or something. I don't know. But, like, it's picking up some white noise that it shouldn't be, because the AC isn't on, the fan, and there's no white noise happening. I don't know if it's just fucking having a stroke. However, the evil spirits were able to put up no resistance to the unshadowed crucifix. That's normal. Klein nodded above the grey fog, expressing his acceptance of the current situation. After the Giant King perished, this place likely belonged to the ASG. It's unlikely there will be a large number of giant powerhouses and items left behind. When the King of Angels were conspiring, they definitely eliminated any troublesome things ahead of time. Once ASG was eaten up, the ownership of this palace was a mystery and was abandoned. In short, there aren't many foreseeable demigods or items. Well, without the unshadowed crucifix, those spirits would be hard to deal with. The City of Silver's expedition team might not be able to advance so smoothly, making it impossible for them to advance so far unless an angel led the team. When the crucifix returned to Derek, the team was already very close to the tallest building in the court. The dusk here was extremely dense, as though it came from that palace. Once we leave this hall, we should come to the wing of the Giant King's residence, Colin said. Lovia nodded. Derek's heart beat faster. He could no longer control his excitement. Then he was placated. After composing themselves, the people entered the hall in front of them and saw there were oil paintings hanging on both sides. These oil paintings depicted different giants. Some held bone flutes, some carried wind chimes, while others carried a 7-string guitar that matched their height. As the City of Silver's expedition team arrived, the giants in the paintings came alive. They began playing their instruments, producing a beautiful tune. The light of dusk in the hall lit up. More and more food appeared on the long table around them as they glowed with a tempting glisten, effusing a very tempting fragrance. Roasted chicken, roasted goose, honey with fish with honey based. Is this a dinner banquet for the giant king's court? But aren't the sizes of these giants, geese, goats, and fish too large? The work of Umbella? Harry Potter dies in Endgame? Does he at least get to take out Voldemort, McSeely? Oh my god. How could you, McSeely? How could you do that to me? This is normal food? Haim asked. Maybe, Derek sniffed. Apart from the black-faced grass, they had never seen normal food. The roasted monster's meat had different colors and tasted horrible. Colin stared before sighing. They're all fake. Don't touch them, or you might have some accidents. Other than Lovia, the team from the City of Silver retracted their gaze with great difficulty, and they followed the chief to the exit of the hall. After a crack of inspection, Colin inserted his swords into the ground. Oh my fucking god! Bella? Is that what you're saying, sound? Because I'm saying Bella, which would be 3. So you're saying Bella would be 4. A crack appeared as rich as the light shone outside. As the gap grew bigger, the palace gradually became clear. I love how sound is like, alright, brother, you want to go Bella? Bella? I love how sound is like, alright, username, you want to go ban for spoilers, motherfucker? Love that. Doesn't matter. Okay, fair enough. I fear not the man who has studied 1,000 sword techniques, but the man who has practiced stabbing the ground 1,000 times. True. Colin then retracted his gaze and walked out of the hall, and everyone followed behind. After bathing in the light of the dusk, they looked to the left at the same time. There were railings formed from stone pillars. Beyond the railings, there was an orange-red cloud that was gently ebbing at the distance. On the endless swath of the dark blue, they emitted crashing sounds. There was no need for anyone to explain. Everyone recalled the records in their books and Jack's description. A term flashed in their minds. The sea. Dude, can you imagine the sheer amount of dopamine they've received today? No one in the City of Silver has received in thousands of years. Imagine. You've never seen like dawn before. You've never seen like that orange hue that hits you in dawn. Like when the sun's going down, you're like, holy, you feel that and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then you get to see the sea for the first time. Holy shit. Your dopamine receptors would be like hitting you with like methamphetamines amount of fucking dopamine. They're like, oh my god, it's happening, it's happening. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, good for these guys, man. They deserve it. They've had Derek has had such a long, hard road. What the fuck? First time getting vitamin D. Yeah, now they're just like all of their powers have just gone up 20%. Not because of anything special or anything. Literally just straight up dealing with just their cells getting vitamin D for the first time. Their cells are like, let's go, let's go. We've got. It's like Superman coming into contact with the yellow sun. They're like, oh my god, we've got more power, baby. Also, any more thoughts? Bro. I'm so curious why they disbanded it. Or maybe, like, or do you think maybe they still have Because, like, imagine if these guys are still fucking talking and communicating together. These guys could run the universe. Ah. So wait. Evernight? I'm gonna guess Amibella? I don't... Badhale? Ouroboros? Sasrir? God of Knowledge? I can't remember his fucking name. Rocks Pirates on Crack is a great way to put it. Fuck, what was this motherfucker's name? Hedda Berrigan. Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, wait, what? Medici or... Nah, Sasrir is next to Evernight? Oh, this is Sasrir? This is Sasrir? The Dark Angel is this guy? Who's white as snow? There's no shot, right? I am saying Hera Berrigan. Okay, fine. Mexili. I will fucking pronounce every single fucking... Bro, what? This is Sasrir, the Dark Angel? No, Sasrir is not... Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. That's... Okay, that is EBS. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. So, that is... I'm sorry, I need Google Translate to tell me how to say his fucking name again. I forgot. So this is Arcus's. Hera Berrigan, Sasrir, Ouroboros. Fuck, what is her name? God damn it. Oh my god, what is her name? What is her name? Oh my god. I can't remember. Amanisis. Yes, yes, yes. Umbella. Badhale. Okay, cool. Got it. Got it. Sasrir is the seat to the left of EBS. You can see... Oh, the Dark Angel. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. There we go. So, Amanisis, Sasrir, EBS, Medici, Umbella, Badhale. Don't care. I'm saying it sound. Shut up. By the way, can we make this the new background now? I feel like this is cool. Can we make this the new background? This would be quite nice. No? Maybe? Or, oh my god, this? Oh my god, this is amazing. Oh my god, this is amazing. The 8 angels. ASG and the 8 kings of angels. Oh my god, we can make this. We can either do this one or this one. Oh my god, these are both amazing. More nukes on easy? It's fine. So, Ouroboros, Medici. Is this Salinger? Who is this? Or is this... Huh? Amon, Adam, Storm, EBS. Oh, Sasrir. Oh. Oh, disaster. Okay. EBS, Herabergin. If someone says I did not pronounce the R, I'm gonna kill myself. I'll do it. I'll do it. I don't even care. Okay. No, this is some actual. You see, this is me talking about the Jesus shit, right? ASG is literally like 1-to-1 with Jesus. Thank God I'm not the only one seeing it. Do you remember the armor used in Volume 2 to hunt the devil? The one with the blood of a deity that can't be cleaned? Yes, Dr. Z, I was going to ask about that because I remember that. Username, you a bitch, man. Jesus. Oh my god, we can also make this the background too. Omnissus? Is that closer to sound? You didn't pronounce that. Fuck you. Fuck you. Look who's holding the utensil. Oh, the ones who are gonna eat him. Fuck him. Him. But there's only 2. Where's Herabergen? He should be... I guess we can't see him. Okay. Very clever. Very clever. You're like, aw, damn. They're like, damn. ASG, you didn't pick up the right side of spoon? Where? Am I fucking... Right? Oh, I see. I see it. Oh, goes left. Fuck you. You guys are so mean. You guys are so mean. I love how they're like, damn, Jesus, you didn't. Sorry, Jesus. Damn, ASG, you didn't order any wine. Damn, all right, it's fine. It's no, it's fine. It's fine. We don't. And then just go stab him at night. Oh. I mean, I don't know what this guy's doing with a fucking spoon. But all the same, you know, he's trying. Oh, easy message. All right, all good. Yeah, I'm going to sleep. Fuck you guys, man. You guys are so mean today. Oh my god. What the fuck? You guys are so mean. But oh my god, that was an amazing chapter. Okay. Is it okay if we make this one the new background? No, this... Yeah. Is it okay if we make this the new background? Is this okay? Scoop up the brain matter. Is this good? We can also do this one, but this one's a little bit quieter, which is not necessarily a bad thing, just saying. Or this one is also pretty good too. Let me know which of these 3 you guys prefer. 1, 2, 3, I don't really care. I was so fast today, Nagito. Hell yeah. Super fast. Alright guys, we'll end stream there. Thank you so much everyone for popping by. Have a great rest of your day or nights. We'll go to 11:27 as per wrongs tomorrow. And that's it. I'll catch y'all later. Bye guys.